Honestly, this was Fairy Tail at its peak of quality. This was literally using all of Fairy Tail's strong points at its finest. This was honestly one of those chapters that, yet again, I think Hiro Mashima likes to do that towards the end of the year. He does some amazingly godlike shit, and that's what this chapter was. Between the feels alone and all the information, and I guess you could call it an info dump, but it was an info dump done in such an amazing way that I was just like, yo, and there's still more mystery to go. I mean, so this chapter, Zeref dropped the bombshell to Natsu, so we got progression there. Natsu knows everything, although Natsu was kind of being that typical, main protagonist that doesn't want to hear anything, and even though he's telling him the truth about everything, is like, no, I don't want to hear that. Alright, you're Zeref Dragneel, I'm End, I was born 400 years ago, blah, blah, blah. But I think somewhere within Natsu, he kind of did believe it. He was just being stubborn and didn't want to hear it because he wanted to complete his task. And I love how the words that Igneel said when he first arrived and whatnot in the war or whatever against Tartarus, how he said, bring me the book, don't do anything to it, nothing, just bring it to me. It makes sense now why he said that, because when Zeref shot through the book right there, it hurt Natsu. So if Natsu would have went crazy and destroyed the book, or if Gray would have destroyed the book or whatever, bam, it would have killed Natsu, because we find out in this chapter that he is basically linked to all this. If Zeref dies, Natsu dies. If something happens to that book, it happens to Natsu. So, I mean, I don't know at this point if I can really say, I mean, it's a possibility, who knows, if this entire time the reason why Hiro has been so light on things and not killing too many major characters or whatever is because we might see tragedy at the end, because if Zeref dies, Natsu dies. So in order to take out the main villain, the main antagonist or whatever of the series, our main hero needs to die, unless they find some bullshit reason why, oh, well, we separated the link, or Natsu's full human now, or some given point he's no longer my creation or whatever. Then I guess he could survive, which would be really stupid, because basically the way the chapter went with this one, it set up that Natsu has to die to kill the main villain. And that's fucking insane. I think Hiro really planned this out, because I don't know if anybody notices this, but I believe it's on the very first chapter, the very first color page of Fairy Tail. Natsu's wearing a shirt that says END. It's almost as if Hiro planned all of this shit from the very beginning of the series and slowly worked his way to it, but had it for the most part planned out, especially being Natsu is going to be like this, and him being END and all this other shit. And if that's the case, I mean, Hiro, he crafted something amazing. Yeah, there's blenders and bullshit and Fairy Tail here and there, but the major chunks and the shit that we genuinely give a fuck about is golden. And I was shocked as fuck to find out that Zeref and Igneel were friends. Like, finding out more about Zeref, it honestly seems as though between the black magic and just everything he witnessed over the span of 400 years is what made him the way he is. Ultimately, yeah, he has that curse and it kind of makes him do crazy shit or whatever, but what made him to the point that he is right now, there sometimes he's alright and then sometimes he just snaps into evil and chaos and whatever, is because over 400 years ago, he's seen probably some of the worst things that humanity has to offer. Just think for a second, he's seen, civilizations come and go, and then the last straw, when he finally thought, I found somebody that is just like me, immortal or whatever, I can love this person and I can be with them forever. And then ultimately Mavis died as well. That was what really made him who he is today. So yeah, I think 400 years of nightmares and bullshit would make anybody be the psychopath that Zeref Dragneel is. I ain't gonna lie though, when I saw the whole thing of, the Dragon Slayers and the plan that Metallica and all the dragons had to send them to the future to eventually defeat Acnologia or whatever, it was like, Natsu, cool, Gajeel, dope, hell, even Wendy's fine, but when I see Sting and Rogue, I'm kind of like, ugh. I don't know if it's because they were introduced later in the story, or what happened in the Grand Magic Games where Natsu beat the tar out of the both of them or whatever, but either way, I just kind of like, I know y'all Dragon Slayers, but it's hard for me to accept it. Definitely the mystery of who Anna is really has me intrigued. I'm curious if it has anything to do with Brandish's grudge against Layla. Maybe, who knows, Brandish might have come from that past as well. Maybe Brandish is one of the last few people that was thrusted into the future, and maybe she blames Layla for whatever happened to Anna. Maybe Anna is Brandish's mother, something lines of that. Definitely a nice little mystery that was set up with who the hell is this Anna person, and how did Layla know to open the doors? What was Layla doing opening the gates and whatnot? Like, there's definitely still more mystery to come, because I mean, Layla kind of has me wondering whatnot. Like, it would be so crazy, and I doubt Hero's gonna do whatever, because it's been pretty much established, like, the main threat at this point has been Acnologia. I mean, Zeref is one of the threats, but Acnologia is the ultimate threat. That's why the dragons did all this. All their preparations and everything that's happened in the series up until this point is because the dragons wanted to stop him. So that's been the main villain, but it would really be sick if we find out some crazy shit that all along it was Layla that did all this, and maybe Layla is acting Logia's true wife or some insane shit. That would be hype. I doubt it'll happen, but it would be hype. And to be honest with you, I've never given a fuck about Happy. I've never really been like, oh, poor Happy or whatever, until this chapter. What he did in this one, granted, if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, a lot of blood. Whatever Zeref does from this particular point on, you can arguably say that part of it is Happy's fault. So let's just say right now Zeref walked up to Makarov and blasted him through the face, killed him or whatever. It's kind of Happy's fault because he chose his one friend over all the people that Zeref will ultimately kill after, you know, he dragged him out of there. But I still couldn't help but feel for him when he was like, yo, aren't you my friend too? Like, I don't want this. This is not what I want. I don't want you to die, when he dragged him away and flew with him or whatever. Like, I genuinely felt for the character. So Hero actually even did a great job with Happy. Yes, Happy. Remember Happy Afro? Fuck that shit. This was good stuff right here. And just seeing Zeref crying and everything, like, I don't know, this was just a really fucking amazing chapter. Again, one of the top 5 Fairy Tail chapters. Fairy Tail has just improved so much. Again, it always has its little blunders here or there, and it might get a little slow, but ultimately Fairy Tail has come a long way from them Grand Magic Games days. I'm just saying, like, the Grand Magic Games and what we're experiencing now are two totally different, almost mangas, to be honest. Like, it's insane. But at the end of the day, the progression we got in this chapter as well, as far as Natsu can't do it anymore. So what Zeref hoped for all along, like even when he showed up 7 years ago and he was like, fuck, you know, Natsu still ain't strong enough. He still doesn't have that power to defeat me or whatever, which is what he wanted all along to begin with. It's kind of like now, yeah, who's going to stop Zeref? How can you stop Zeref? Natsu seemed to be the last force. It would have to be Acting Logia. I think the only person now that has dragon power that is, you know, either equal to or above Igneo would be Acting Logia. So I think the person that's going to put him down would be Acting Logia. But then again, will Natsu die at the same time? Like, it's a hard thing to say. Like, maybe both of them will die taking on Acting Logia, and the manga will end something like that. Natsu and Zeref both take on the threat. They die in the process. I don't know. Or maybe, depending the way Zeref dies, maybe Natsu won't have to go. Maybe, like, if Zeref dies because he ultimately found happiness, or he dies at a natural cause or something like that, maybe Natsu won't die either. I don't know. It's too crazy. Honestly, amazing chapter. 11 out of 10 type of chapter. Like, the information we got, the character development, and everything that happened in this chapter, like, I had tears reading it, I ain't gonna lie. And I don't like Happy, but I liked Happy in this chapter. Let me know what you guys think though. What did you think about Natsu versus Zeref? I knew it wasn't gonna be over. I knew at the end of the day something was gonna happen, but I didn't expect anything like this. I didn't expect for him to put all the cards on the table, for Natsu to find everything out, for me to feel a fuck for Happy, the introduction of this Anna character, finding out more about her, Layla, like, what's up with Layla? Is she on some shady shit? Like, why did she open the gates that time? And just, again, so many different things about this chapter. It was amazing. And let me know your overall thoughts. But thanks for watching. If you enjoyed anything about this video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more videos, make sure to subscribe. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.